Hello, everybody. This is MJ Martinez with the Customer Experience Connection podcast. And today I just wanted to talk about the why behind what you do every day. As adjusters, even as leaders, sometimes, we have to remind ourselves on those tough days why we're doing it. Why am I waking up in the morning? Why am I drinking so much coffee? Why am I so motivated to do what I'm going to do? Why am I so scared to do what I'm going to do? Why do I have anxiety before I go to work? Um, but it's really important to figure out your why. It really helps to balance your mental health, which is so important, especially in this industry. And it's so important to remind yourself as you evolve in your career why you're doing what you do. So I'm going to show you something. I'm going to go ahead and share this with you. Let's go ahead and meet at the side here. And this is what it's about. What is your why? How to think about why you do the things you do in the terms of motivation and or passion. Can a why evolve as you evolve? And yes, it can. And I'll tell you why. No pun intended. Now, how do we evolve? You know, um, we can evolve in lots of ways. We can evolve throughout our career. We can evolve due to age. We can evolve due to children. We can evolve due to internal, external factors. There's lots of reasons why we evolve. But one of the main reasons is this chart that you see in front of you. I've been following Abraham Maslow for a very long time. Since I took classes in college, I was just floored by the fact that this was out there. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. And once you see it, you know that some people need it. So these are Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So in 1954, he's an American psychologist that proposed that human beings possess two sets of needs. The five stages can be divided into deficiency needs and growth needs. The first four levels are often referred to as deficiency needs or D needs, and the top level is known as growth or being needs. I'm not going to get too far into it. I just wanted to show it to you to kind of help you understand where you are in life or where you want to be in life and how to think about these things in respect to this hierarchy of needs. Like I said, once you see it, you won't be able to unsee it. There's people who can't move past psychological needs. As you can see, it starts with psychological needs: air, water, food, shelter, sleep, clothing, reproduction. Safety needs: personal security, employment, resources, health, property, love and belonging, friendship, intimacy, family, sense of connecting or connection, esteem, respect, self-esteem, status, recognition, strength, freedom, and self-actualization, desire to become the most that one can be. As I grew up, I was more so in physiological needs category or in that category. When I was in college, I just needed food, water, shelter, clothing, air. um, then, I would intertwine into my safety needs, personal security, getting a part-time job. Actually, I worked full-time while I was in college. Resources that, I needed to find that my parents couldn't provide for me during college, my health, any sort of property that I may or may not own. I did own a property at the time, granted to me by my grandfather. That may or may not have played into the fact of me evolving, but those are things that I needed to consider. Love and belonging, as I grew older, as I, you know, moved up in life, I had my air, I had my water, I had my physiological needs, I had my safety needs, love and belonging. that's when I started looking for a sense of connection, a sense of intimacy and family. So at that point in my career, I was getting married. I was thinking about having kids and then having kids, and then stuff changes after that. On top of that, as you are a young buck in in your career, younger than I am in your career, status seems to be something that you're chasing, recognition, um, the strength to do what you do, the freedom. Nowadays, it's um, more relevant. A lot of employees want the freedom and the flexibility of what they do on a daily basis, and self-esteem, doing meaningful work, and respect is, respect by the company they work for is important. Now, me personally, I'm in the self-actualization piece of the Maslow hierarchy of needs. I am desiring to become the most that I can be. I've been in the industry for 20 years, well, little under 20 years. This next CE will be my final CE, as I'm going to be grandfathered into the CE program, which is amazing. But I wanted you to see this so you can see what level you're at, what needs are being met, and how you can kind of have a path to see where you want to be in this Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Now, once you see this, like I said, you can't unsee it. You're going to meet some people and you're going to say, wow, you've never passed the physiological needs portion of this hierarchy of needs. Um, it helps in relationships, to see who you're um, courting, I guess, at the time, who you're dating. You can easily, just in conversing with them, where they are at in this particular Maslow hierarchy of needs. So once you see it, you can't unsee it. If you need more information, I left the link there on the slide for you. Now, there's 5 steps to find your why. I found these on aldohappy.com. I've been an adjuster for years, a leader as well, and I've always gone to this website whenever I feel down. They have this really they have a real passion for helping people realize who they are, what their whys are, how can they make people happy. And, in this industry, sometimes we can't all be at 100% every day. Sometimes our day throws us a curveball, in claims. It's orchestrated chaos, controlled chaos, but it's still chaos. And sometimes you have no idea what's coming to you on that day. Um, so you have to remind yourself why you do the things you do. Why is it meaningful to you? And why do you continue doing that? And maybe there's something that you can visualize in the future as to what you want to be doing as well in your career. So, step 1, um, reflect on your passions and your interests. And that basically will kind of tell you, what did you enjoy doing, at an early age? What are your hobbies? What brings you joy and fulfillment? What activities energize you? Are there, causes or issues that ignite a fire within you? That fire is what's going to keep you going during those hard times. That's why I feel it's really important to talk about the reasons why we do what we do, because during hard times, especially during these volatile times in the insurance industry, this is where we really have to dig deep and think about why we do things and improve ourselves or evolve as we continue throughout our careers. Now, that's step 1. Reflect on your passions and your interests. Step 2 is identify your core values. what matters to you most in life? When you make decisions, what are the principles that guide you? Um, what qualities do you find vital in yourself and in others whenever you are in that relationship building period of your life as well? What are your pet peeves? Things that you just cannot stand out of just simple principle. So identify your core values. Step three, look for patterns in past experiences. So that's something that I look at all the time. We all have made mistakes. We have made big mistakes. We have made little mistakes, but nevertheless, we have made mistakes. So look for patterns in past experiences. During that period of, making a bad move or making a mistake, what did you learn? There's nothing wrong with mistakes. I've made a ton of mistakes, and that's why, I am the person I am now, because of those mistakes. I learned from them, I adapted from them, I evolved from them. So look for patterns in past experiences. And it could be something as simple as, your after work habits, your family habits, your work habits, your um, home life, work life, how that balances out, how you had a lack of balance in that in the past. So just look for patterns in past experiences and learn from them and see how you can adjust from those things. See what you can learn and how you can evolve from those patterns. If it's a good pattern, maybe it's something that you stick with. So patterns don't necessarily always have to be negative. You want to visualize your ideal future. That's something that I believe everybody should do. Really manifest that future of what you want to do. I always tell people, okay, you're 80 years old, right? What do you want to tell yourself now? Because we can't change the past, right? The past is the past, but we can change the future. We can change the things that we do now to essentially affect our future. So, what can you do now? And what drives you to do the things that you do now that connects you to what you visualize for your future of your family, for your future of your um, professional career, for your future of your passion? And then once you go through step 1 through 4, really craft your personal mission statement. And this mission statement will evolve. I've changed my mission statement probably about 4 or 5 times throughout my career. And that's because I have evolved. I have changed. I have learned. I have grown. And what I feel is important, based on back to the Maslow hierarchy of needs, what I feel important may be different from what I felt important or what I felt was important when I was 30 or 20. Now I'm 42. And at this point in my life, I have a very good idea of what my personal mission statement is. So I've sourced this website at the bottom. I highly recommend it. It's a great resource. If you're having a tough day, if you're having a rough patch in your relationship, you're having a rough patch in your career, if you feel like your dreams are not manifesting on your timeline, think about what you can do now to affect your future. Reflect on why you do the things you do, and think of a way to remind yourself of why you're doing what you do. For example, step 5, the mission statement. I have my own personal mission statement, and it takes a while to come up with, and it takes some time to maybe journal, reflect, step 1 through 5 that I discussed earlier. But it's really important to stay on track, just like a company, can start, going on joint ventures or different avenues of what they're doing as far as impacting their business. But at one point or another, every decision that a company makes will always go back to their mission statement. Is it part of their mission statement or is it not? That's how you prioritize things as well. Is it part of our mission statement or is it not? My mission statement currently, and I revised this probably a couple of years ago. Um, in a nutshell, my why are my daughters. Whenever I have a hard day, whenever I'm thinking, why am I doing this every day? Whenever I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I've had 9 bad phone calls. I've had one great phone call. I really made an impact. But what keeps me going throughout the day? This is what keeps me going. I keep my mission statement close to me. I used to, when I was in a cubicle, I used to put it on my cubicle. And that was something that reminded me why I was doing what I was doing. It reminded me that I'm doing these things now for my future self and for the goals that I've set for myself, to know that I'm having a meaningful impact, not only on my life, but on lives of others. So my mission statement, I'll say it out loud now, is to dedicate my life's work to making a positive impact on others, inspired by the gift of life granted by God. I commit to working tirelessly to improve the lives of those I interact with, instill boundless passion in my daughters, and leave an indelible legacy within the insurance industry. My mission is to pave the way for the next generation of insurance professionals, ensuring their success and fostering a future where the insurance profession becomes the preferred choice for the younger generation as they aspire to shape their own futures. That's it. That's what I live by. If what I'm doing isn't part of my mission, maybe that needs to take a back seat. Maybe that's a behavior or a task that I can hold off on. But on those days where I have a high pending, I have all these people calling me, I've come back from a holiday and it's crazy, I have to remind myself, why am I doing this? How am I making an impact? Am I making a meaningful impact? Am I connecting in the relationships that I should be connecting in? Am I connecting in the wrong relationships? Um, and for me, again, it goes down to my daughters. Will my daughters be proud of me? At the end of my life, will my daughters be proud of me? And my goal, and I can just picture them in my head all the time. My goal is my mission, and my goal is to make sure that I set a good example for my daughters. So that's what I live by. This exercise from the past slide really helped me identify my passions. It identified what I enjoy doing, what I find joy in, and really helps in your decision making when you're talking about work-life balance. A lot of companies talk a great game about work-life balance, but the execution is where sometimes is lacking. So find your work-life balance, have that conversation with your supervisor. Um, this is your life. This is one life that God gave you. This is one life that you have. Make an impact whenever you can. So what is your why? And I wanted to say Deep Thoughts by Jack Handy. I'm dating myself, but that was an old Saturday Night Live thing. But why do you do what you do every day? Try and answer those questions for yourself. Next time you're in front of your computer, next time you're having a bad day, think about these things. Why do you do what you do every day? What is your motivation and or passion? How can you remind yourself about your why on tough days? We all need those reminders. And I know it's kind of harder with the remote um, environment now, but I remember, even walking down the aisle and seeing the faces of my coworkers. I'd sit down with them and I'd say, well, why do you do what you do? I know today sucks, but why are you doing what you're doing? You know, well, you need money. Okay. So you're on that level of the Maslow hierarchy of needs. So what else? why, what's your passion? What do you want to do with this job? Because a lot of people think that it's just a job, but it's it's a great career. Insurance is a great career. And I always ask people, you know, who were my employees or even my coworkers, why do you do what you do? What's your passion? What are you trying to do with this job in your career? What are you trying to learn from this job to work towards your career goals? What is your why? And your why could simply be, you know what, I want money. Your why could simply be, you know what, I need to provide for my daughters or my sons or my children or my family. Um, but find out what your why is, because on those tough days, it really, really, really helps as far as what you're doing, why you're doing it. You know, is it meaningful? All of those things will help you realize why you're doing what you're doing on those tough days. And it does amazing things for your mental health. It's kind of a reset. Why am I doing this? Okay, cool. It's not as bad anymore. Let me keep doing it. All of these things help you stay away from the death cycle of answering calls over and over with a certain kind of tone. Um, I used to put mirrors in my employees at my employees' desks because I would tell them, look, if you smile at the mirror, that's the tone that the person is hearing on the other side of the phone. So that's another little trick that I'll go over later on, but simple tricks like that and really ways to reset your mind, um, change your mindset as to why you're doing these things will really help you understand why you're doing what you're doing and really help you know that you're making a difference. You are making a difference in people's lives. And like I said earlier, you may have 9 bad calls, but that last call is going to be the one that sticks with you. It's going to be the one that may even bring tears to your eyes. But this day and age, customer experience is key. There's no way around it. Customers have choices. We have a job to do. And in some stats that I went over earlier on, I think episode 2 or 3, um, one bad customer experience can get someone to switch carriers 50% of the time. That's a big percentage. So, whatever we can do to improve ourselves, to remind ourselves that we are making a difference, to do the things that we need to do for the reasons that we want, and stay true to our mission is going to be what gets us through the day, what gets us through the hard days, what gets us through the good days. But ultimately, I promise, if you think about these things and you remember why you're doing the things that you're doing, your days aren't going to be that bad. And by the time you know it, it's 5 o'clock. It's time to go home to your family, or time to go to the gym, or time to do whatever you do that brings you joy. So that is why I'm talking about this, because I've had to ask myself, why am I doing this? A lot of times in my career. And I want you all to do the same thing because I know that it helps. And I know that it helps, especially in times of volatility, in times where maybe you were laid off and you're looking for a job. That's a great time to self-develop and ask yourself, why am I doing this? So thank you all very much for joining me for the Customer Experience Connection podcast. I really enjoy doing what I'm doing. This is my passion. I want to give you the information that I have received over the years. Basically, I want to empty my cup into yours before it's my time to retire, leave the industry, which I never want to leave the industry, but at one point or another, you know, I'm going to have to retire, and my body will tell me when, but I'm not ready yet, obviously. So thank you so much for joining me. I enjoy every episode, and as long as I'm touching one person's life at a time, that's all that matters. Thank you all.